welcome to this broadcast. If you're watching live, let me know who you are, where you're watching from in the chat. And if you are watching on the replay, then go ahead and say hi anyway. Love to see where people are watching in from. So today's broadcast is called Live, Lead, Shine, Woman of Influence. And the reason that I am making this video is because my work is really all about supporting women to be more influential in their role, to get out of our heads and step into our power so that we can cope better with the challenges of senior leadership, so that we can show up more confidently in our roles, and that we can be more influential in our industries. And the reason that I'm making this video is like part 2 of the video that I've just done. And I'm making it because it's such a strange time that we're in. I've been having so many conversations with women who lead, and there's so much going on. There's so much uncertainty. There's so much confusion. There's so much pressure that we're dealing with that I really want to speak to it. And I made a video just a little while ago about this, but I'm making a rerun because there's some things that I just want to reiterate as I go. So I'm going to just go through the whole message again. And if you're joining me, then say hi, let me know that you're with me, and let's see where we go. But here's the thing, that as I've been thinking about this for myself, as I've been thinking about this whole global issue for myself, 3 stories come to mind that really help me to clarify what it is that I want to say at such a time as this. And the first story is when I worked in Lewisham Hospital. Not in Lewisham Hospital, in a London borough. When I worked for the local government in one of the London boroughs, I was working to lead up a regional programme that was part of a national public service initiative. I was director, and I was really out of sorts in my role. It was my first senior leadership role, and I didn't know if I could do it right. And I had a mentor and a boss who would tell me, like, she'd really reassure me all the time that I was doing things right and that I was doing things really well. And then I got invited to speak as part of my work to a conference. It was called Faith in the City. And I remember going excited to speak at this conference because I'm a woman of faith. If it's something I know about, it's about being a woman of faith. So going to a conference to be a keynote speaker about faith really excited me. But it didn't go down too well. People from the mayor's office and the powers that be were really not okay with a public servant, somebody working in the public office, revealing or being vocal about their faith. And it wasn't cool, it wasn't PC to be mentioning God or Jesus. So I got really told off about it. And I remember that time. When I think back to that time, I think back to the stress. I think back to the pressure that I felt at that time. It was a real challenging time. I was worried for my life. I was worried for my work. I thought that they were going to get rid of me. I thought that I wasn't going to have a job. I thought that I was, in trouble, out of the clique. I felt out of sorts, and I felt got at, and I felt threatened. So that's the first story that came to me. I want to park that there for a minute and tell you this second story. And this second story happened way before that. I mean, more recently than that, just really like now, very, very recently. I've been writing a book, and the book has been a real challenge to birth. Speaking is my thing. Writing has been a real challenge, and getting the book together was one of the scariest, most challenging things that I've ever done in my life. And as the deadline approached, and as the book wasn't coming together, the deadline was approaching, the book wasn't coming together, and the pressure was really real. The pressure was really on. And I really felt like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. They've paid me in advance. I'm going to have to give them their money back. It was just really a stressful thing that it was like one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I've been thinking about that. as I've been thinking about the conversations that I've been having around this whole global pandemic, have I been watching the news and listening? I can't quite put my finger on what I'm detecting, but this story keeps coming back to my mind about how I felt when I was in trouble with the powers that be in my old role, and when I struggled to write this book. I've been wondering, what is that about? Like, why are these stories coming up as I think about this situation that we're all in? And then another story came to mind. This time it was years ago, about how we were in Jamaica, family holiday, we were by the pool, and I was swimming, and then I decided to stand up, and I realized I couldn't stand up because I was in the deep end. There was no sign to say that this was the deep end. I was just swimming, thought it was all the shallow end, but couldn't stand up. So no problem. I just carried on swimming and got to the other end. When I turned around, there was my daughter following in my swim steps, following after me. The problem was I knew that she wasn't a strong swimmer. The problem was I knew that soon she was going to try and stand up too and realize that she couldn't. And I feared that she was going to start to panic. And so what I did was I had this plan that I would go and meet her so that by the time she realizes that she can't stand up, it will be all right. I will have her and I'll swim her to safety to the side. But I got there just a fraction too late. She'd already tried to stand up and she was panicking. She grabbed me by the head and she pulled me down. In an effort to keep her own head above water, she was pulling me under. And the two of us were grappling, and it was just a really scary deal. And I couldn't get my head water because she wouldn't let me. She was holding on, flailing around, trying really hard to get her own head above water. And so I couldn't get my head above. And I could feel life draining. I could feel like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. That we're not going to make it. I could feel myself getting weaker. I could feel myself needing to breathe and not being able to. And I just resigned myself, like, this is really it. This is really it. And I pushed my daughter with it was like my last bit of strength. I thought I'd try and push her to the side of the pool. And at that second, the lifeguard pulled me up out of the water and saved us both. But these are the stories that are coming up for me as I consider us in this season where the atmosphere is just thick with fear. It can really feel like we're drowning. It can really feel like there's no choice but to inhale all this fear and terror and horror. It can feel like this is what's happening. We're dying in this. And what I've realized is that as I consider all the conversations that I've been having with the various women in leadership, not even just around this pandemic, but even generally, even in the atmosphere of marketplace leadership, that there's just so much in the atmosphere. It can really feel hard to breathe easy. It can feel like we're having to fight to hold on to life as we know it. And life as we know it feels under threat, more so now that we've got all of this going on. And I've been thinking about this, how life feels under threat and what that really feels like on the inside. You see, we're just having to carry this. Oftentimes we don't even think about it. Oftentimes we don't even acknowledge this terror and this fear that's going on the inside of us. Oftentimes we don't even give it a voice, that we don't talk about, we don't even acknowledge it, but it's there. And in my privileged position as a leadership consultant where I get to sit down with women and go behind the mask and to take the layers off and to really speak truthfully and share honestly. This is the reality of some of us in leadership, that the atmosphere that we lead in, the atmosphere that we live in, is just heavy. And so I'm making this video today for people that identify with what I'm saying, for people that understand that this is such a heavy time, that there's such a lot of fear, there's a feeling of threat, that life as we know it is under threat, that the familiar things, the things that we want to do, or the things that we're familiar with, or just even the things that we think we need, just feels under threat right now. But I'm making this video to remind you that you are alive today. You're alive now. And you are called and chosen and positioned as a woman who leads right now. And so this is not the time to be afraid. This is not the time to fall apart. This is not the time to be in our heads considering and playing out all these different scenarios. That we have to find a way to gather our thoughts, to tap into the truth that we are alive right now, and we are the leaders that people are looking to for direction, the leaders that people are looking to find our way forward, to know how to respond, to know what to do. And we're the people that are positioned to shape what happens past this, what happens as we go through it and come out the other side. We are the people that are chosen and called and positioned to ensure, to see to it that it is well with us as we go through this. And so I want to encourage you. I want to speak life to you, woman of influence. I want to remind you that you are a woman of influence. I'm calling you to gather your thoughts, to get out of your head and to get out of, unplug from fear, unplug from the terror. Realize that it might feel like your head's below the water. It might feel like you can't breathe. It might feel like this is the end. But this is not the end. This is a new beginning. And I'm encouraging you to focus on three things. One is to face your fears. Face your fears. Look them eyeball to eyeball. You know, I was thinking this morning as I was walking, about us trying not to feel our fear, or trying not to admit that we're worried or anxious. And I know that this just doesn't work. That what we have to do is really face them, call them out, write them down, look at them, acknowledge our fears, and then treat them with the truth. The truth is that you're not below water, you're not drowning, you're not dying. This is not the end for you, that life is not being squeezed out of you, that you are alive, you are well, and that you are positioned to lead people through this. This is the truth, and this is what you have to come into your truth and face your fears with the truth. The second thing that I want you to do is to find your God. Find your God. You know, I was looking at why it's called Corona, and it's because it's the structure of this virus that we're dealing with right now is shaped like a crown. That under the microscope, it looks like there are crown-like structures attaching itself to this virus, to the cells of this thing. And so it really reminded me that how important it is that at a time like this, or during this present climate in the marketplace, just generally, even without this pandemic, that it's critical that we find out who is our God. What force or power is bigger than this, or more powerful or more mighty than this virus, than this pandemic? What is mightier than fear? What is bigger than our fears? What is more powerful and more truthful? What is the truth? What is the real truth here? It's important that you work it out for yourself. I am having to ask myself, who is my God? And is my God able to take me through? What is my God saying about this? You need to ask yourself those questions. You need to get clear that this is not just a physical matter, it's a spiritual one. And you need to understand where you are in relation to the truth of this situation in the spirit by faith. It's faith that's going to take us through this. And you need to work out what that means for you. And the third thing that I want you to do is to fortify your soul. Fortify your soul. Strengthen your mind, your emotions, and your will. And you strengthen your mind and your emotions and your will, your soul. You strengthen your soul through the truth, through knowing the truth. You strengthen your soul through being wise at who you listen to, what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're meditating on. Are you meditating on the feelings of drowning, or are you meditating on the truth of your calling and your positioning and the opportunities of this season? Be careful where you're putting your mind. Fortify your soul. Be around people that encourage you and lift you up and speak life to you. Be around people that challenge you to dig deeper for what it is that you're being called to be and what you're being called to do in this season. Fortify your mind, your soul. Fortify your feelings, your emotions. Strengthen yourself with good things. Strengthen yourself with vitamins. The vitamins for the soul, like great inspirational music, great conversation, great beauty. Surround yourself with beauty. So look for opportunity. Do you hear what I'm saying? That this is not your time to die. This is your time to live. You are called to lead. You're called to show people the way through this challenging season. It's only preparation for things to come. And so I'm encouraging you to live, woman of influence. I'm encouraging you to lead. I'm encouraging you to shine bright as the woman, the leader, and the change maker that you're called to be at such a time as this. I hope you've gotten something from this video. I hope it's inspired you. I hope you're feeling hugely encouraged. I hope you all will do what I've asked you to do and face your fears, find your God, and fortify your soul. I hope that you will subscribe to this channel, because I'll be going live over the next few days and weeks, sharing my ideas around this. I hope you draw closer. If you want to talk to me personally, then email me at connect@dionjohnson.com. And I do have some places still for the CEO Sanctuary, an online meeting place where you and I can talk one-to-one about helping you to get out of your head and into your power at such a time as this, so that you can lead and that you can live and that you can shine your light, so that people can follow you through this situation. If you're interested in that, then please do email me at connect@thewomanologist.com. I'll leave that email in the comments. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you're doing with getting out of your head and into your power, so that you can live at such a time as this, so that you can lead powerfully and mightily at such a time as this, and that you can shine your light for other people to see the way to go. Catch you later.